How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Can you see Monisha on screen?
Yes.
Now you can see, right? Okay. Monisha, just give me a second. I think we've got people coming up online. I've just told them that we're going to get them to answer or ask any questions they want. But I know that you've got a few questions prepared. So just give me a second. So I should be able to hear you a lot clearer. Can you say something now, Manisha?
Am I audible?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Good. So let's kickstart this. First of all, a couple of things that I want to let everyone know who's online today with us. First of all, thank you very much. The reason we came up with this Ask EHP obviously is my company name, which is Enhancing Human Potential. And the reason we started this was I actually stole the idea from Coffee with Karan. The only difference being Coffee with Karan is all about interviewing celebrities. So I thought to myself, what better than for me to actually question my celebrities, who are all of you, my customers, my participants, friends and families who have the same kind of issues of dealing with people. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to kickstart this. We are going to be doing this last Friday of every month. We're targeting the call to be about 30 minutes to kickstart. But of course, if people have a lot of questions, we can always extend it by another 10, 15 minutes. So that should be all right. Now, because Monisha, your time is precious, so I'm not going to have you stay on for as long as you like. So if you do need to go after your questions, that's fine. If you are happy to stay on, then we are more than happy to have you stay on. The other thing I wanted to mention is that please remember one thing. We are talking about dealing with difficult people. People are the most complicated subject on earth. So I don't want people joining this session thinking, oh, Raju will have all the answers in the world. Definitely not. I'm human, just like everyone else. I've done lots of mistakes in my life. Luckily, I'm old enough to say I have learned from a lot of those mistakes. Whether I have actually changed or not, it's really hard to say, but hey, we try. So I think that's one of the things people need to keep in mind. We will be sharing tactics and ideas. It's a matter of you going and applying them to your different scenarios and seeing how it works. All right. So I'm going to kickstart now by passing it over to you, Monisha. Why don't you get started with what was the purpose for you to join? What exactly made you motivated to say, yes, I will join your chat session? And you can shoot off with the first question.
So how can one say no to this golden opportunity? Very few times do we get this opportunity to talk to an expert and, have a live conversation and understand from your experience, how is it that, one can navigate difficult situations. And difficult situations not only come in corporate life, they are also, in business life, as a leader, in your personal life. Difficult people are everywhere. But I'm really curious to understand, are people really difficult?
Well,
and
okay.
If yes, why?
Okay. Before I answer your first question, why don't you take like 30 seconds to a minute just to introduce yourself so everyone realizes who you are. And it's not that, oh, I've just grabbed my nearest friend to come online, So give us a semi-formal introduction of yourself so people know who you are.
Okay, so I'm based in Bombay, have been working in banking and financial sector for last 17 years. And in the corporate life, there are various challenges that once comes across. And so basically this was my opportunity to, kind of have the solutions to problems that I've been grappling with last almost a decade, if I may say so. and people will always remain a challenging aspect for, I guess, for everyone, because they're so complex and difficult to understand. And I feel a lot of our success depends upon understanding people and delivering what they want.
Very true. And I think one of the things we need to remember from this session and any future sessions is that we're never going to be able to solve all these problems because we're dealing with people. Again, it's a complicated subject. So issues will always happen. We just need to be able to, as I mentioned a few times before, it's channel our emotions and be able to handle them as best as we can. So let me start by going back to your first question. You said, are people really challenging or difficult? That's what you said, right? And if yes, then why? I think people are challenging. Yes, they are. And the only reason for that is because we are pretty much controlled by a lot of things that are happening around us. As some of you may know, I have written a book, and the book is called The P Factor, dealing with the changing people, dynamics of people, right? Because they are changing, you will find that people are ruled by certain types of emotions. What I did was I broke it down into PEOPLE, people. And I actually said, why people come across as difficult is because they have different perceptions, they have different emotions, they have different objectives, they have different pride. Everyone has a pride in themselves. They have different likes and dislikes, and they have different experiences. Now, when you think of it in those terminology, Monisha, your experiences versus my experiences would be difficult, right? Because they're different. And therefore, it could easily be perceived as difficult. And I think one of the things we need to realize is we need to accept it for what it is rather than trying to change people. And you will find that that's unfortunately what a lot of people try to do. I'm dealing with Monisha. I don't agree with what she's saying, so I'm going to try and change her. And you're going to, bang your head against a wall and never change that person. So what we usually suggest is, instead of trying to change the other person, if you could only take a few seconds and adapt yourself, adopt a different style, and deal with the communication at that time. That will help solve the fact that people can be challenging. Yes, they can be. All right.
Okay.
I hope that answered your questions. But if anything is not clear, please go ahead and kind of embellish it with another question and dig deeper. I have no problems. This is your time, Manisha.
Thank you so much for that. Moving on, I have realized with my experience that a lot of times if we build trust and credibility, difficult people are not difficult anymore. And this can be your clients, this can be your business partners, even your personal relationships. So how do we build trust and credibility? What are the steps or prerequisites to building trust and credibility?
Over the last 30 odd years that I've been involved in training, I found that there are three key factors that help build trust quite a bit. The first one you already mentioned in your sentence was credibility. The other one is our capability. And the third one is likability. So let me start by asking you a question, Manisha. If there was someone that you absolutely did not like, would you trust him?
No.
Probably not. Sometimes, unfortunately, we are forced to show trust to someone who we don't like. And that could be because they have very high capability, right? If they are really good at what they do, even though we don't like them, sometimes we have to trust them. But let's reverse the scenario. You want to be considered a person who is trustworthy. Now, what you need to do is you need to build those three areas: credibility, capability, likability. The more capable you are, the easier it is for people to listen to you and go, okay, that makes sense. All right. Credibility is all about how we deal with people. If I sit here and keep talking about how good I am, how wonderful I am, how expert I am, people don't really see that as a credibility. Yes, credibility sometimes is shown through our experiences because of examples that we use. For example, if you walk into a doctor's office, you will find in his clinic, there's a lot of certificates plastered all over the place. That is one form of building credibility. People will show you that, okay, I've graduated from here, so there is a certain amount of credibility. But having said that, that credibility can be broken down very easily. For example, I walk into the clinic, I see the certificates, I am quite impressed. I talked to the doctor, and he basically says, so what's wrong with you? Okay, all right, so I'll give you some medicine. And I'm going like, what? You didn't ask questions, you didn't understand me, you didn't understand my problem, and you have a solution for me. So his credibility just went down the drain, right? So credibility is, are we listening to the person? Are we communicating clearly? Are we actually understanding them and their issues? And then, are we keeping our promises? Those are some of the elements that actually build trust. Then, of course, there's likability. And I always use this with pretty girls. And I say, if you have a guy who approached you in a restaurant, in a bar, wherever, and all he did was talk about how wonderful he was, Monisha, what would be your reaction to him?
I would hear him out and probably, if it's the first meeting, not have any biases and
Okay.
just.
Oh, you're very experienced then, because a lot of times women get put off by, like, I mean, how would I like someone who only wants to talk about himself? All right. So one of the ways we get people to like us is not to focus on us, but to focus on them. So likability, that's one of the essence of likability. Focus on them so that you can actually feel, okay, this guy really is trying to get to know me, rather than, oh, he's just telling me about how good he is. And after a few minutes, I shut off my listening and I turn my attention somewhere else, right? So CCL, credibility, capability, likability. Those are some of I guess, the simplest ways of trying to build trust.
That helps.
Right? Yeah, good.
Yeah. Moving on, same concept of difficult people, but it's not a normal day-to-day scenario. It's a conflict. What are 2-3 things that one should keep in mind while in a conflict with someone who's already a difficult person in your life?
If this is already a difficult person in life, it makes it a little bit easier. Now, I know that sounds really odd, that I'm saying if he's already difficult, then it becomes easier. The reason it becomes easier is because I can actually anticipate that he is going to be difficult. He's not going to just listen to everything I say and go, yes, yes, yes. So that gives me an opportunity to say, well, okay, before I go in to talk to this person, what do I think would go wrong? What do I think he'll say? What do I think he'll disagree with? So it gives you a chance to prepare yourself. It's literally saying, let me take my gun, but let me also take additional ammunition with me just in case, right? That's the analogy. The problem is when you are meeting someone that you generally feel okay with, and all of a sudden he becomes difficult or she becomes difficult, and then it's a conflict. Those are the harder ones. So at that moment, I usually suggest a few simple techniques to people. Like, first of all, please don't respond to every statement or question he makes. Because if you do that, your emotions are the ones that are answering, and it's not your logical brain or your answers. So basically, you need to kind of listen. Even if you understood exactly what he said, force yourself to ask 2 more questions just to clarify and confirm. But that is actually a strategy. The 2 questions is not for me to understand him because I already understood. But the 2 questions is to buy time for me to calm my emotions and go, Okay. All right. So now how am I going to handle this? It actually gives your mind time to kind of sort out what answers you have. Second golden rule is you don't have to answer everything on the spot. This is a mistake that people make. You know, they feel that, oh, he's asked me the question, so I should have an answer for him. Typically, customer service people, salespeople, managers, they feel, oh, no, no, no. If I don't answer him, he'll think I'm not good enough, and therefore I lose my credibility. It's not true. If you are really, if you feel the other person's question is really important, sometimes it's good for you to stand back and say, you know what, Manisha, that was a really good question. Let me come back to you on that. I'm going to think about it so that I can come back to you with something more accurate rather than just blurting out a bunch of things, you know, which may not make sense, may not actually address the question. So people, you know, get emotionally charged. So you really need to kind of stay back from that and don't use emotions. All right. Now, I know I said that sentence, don't use emotions, but there will be people out there and say, oh, but then you become robotic. I'm just saying, don't go with the negative emotions because that's going to create problems. You have to be emotional in a conversation because you need to show your passion. You need to show that you really care. All that is important. All right. So I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, it does. Thank you so much. In your coaching, you've always talked about intent versus effect. We may have intent, but the way we communicate largely determines the kind of effect or impact it's going to land on the other person, and that can be a make or break of you know, a lot of things, especially in business. So what is that one trick up your sleeve which can help us build a communication to have better impact?
Well, the biggest challenge with intent and effect is the fact that our intention is right, but we don't package our wordings correctly. All right, that
Yes.
also relates to what I just mentioned. We blurt out what comes to our mind. We need to kind of hold it back, package it so that, okay, does it sound right? Yes, now I can say it out, right? So one of the formulas that I always tell people is use the KISS principle, which is KISS, which stands for keep it short and simple. The reason is the more complicated your sentence is, the more chances of the other person misunderstanding or taking it in the wrong way or feel that you're being authoritative or commanding. You don't want to do that. So the shorter the sentence, the easier for your message to come across. So keep it short and simple. That's one thing. Secondly is run it through yourself first. And that's why I keep saying, don't rush into answering. Run it through yourself and say, does it sound right? Or is it insulting? Or is it going to make the other person get upset? So when you run it through your own, it becomes a lot easier to be able to package it in the right manner. But most arguments happen because of misunderstandings. And misunderstandings happen because it's intent and wrong effect.
So largely what you're saying, what I have gathered from this discussion is emotions need to be controlled. So in effect, have a good EQ to control the conversation.
Okay, let me rephrase that because that's one of the things I'm worried about. People should never think about controlling their emotions because we are human beings. You can't control it. If you control it, I know people like Journey with Sonal have come on, Mayurika Life have come on. These are people that help you with your life experiences. And you will find that they will have similar kinds of answers, which says, if you control your emotions, what you're doing is you're suppressing the emotions and you're becoming like
Absolutely.
what we call a dormant volcano. But there's only so much you can keep inside. And sooner or later, you're going to become an active volcano. When you become an active volcano, nobody can talk to you because you're just losing it, you know? So don't use the word control your emotions. What we usually suggest is manage or channel your communication, your emotions.
Or maybe
Channel them.
regulate it better?
Regulate can be okay, you see, but regulation in the banking industry is kind of control. So we don't, and your terminology would be based on the banking finance industry. So instead of regulating it, we're diverting it, diverting it into something else. And that would probably be a lot more helpful and less harmful. That's something we need to remember.
Sure.
Yeah.
That helps.
So don't control your emotions because it's hurting you. And if you have to communicate with someone by hurting yourself, there's no point. Why are you communicating? You should just back off and say, listen, we'll talk another time. All right? It's just not worth it for me to hurt myself, mind, body, and soul, in order to communicate with this person.
Thank you so much.
But you are very emotional. So that's something, this is one of the points for today's conversation that you need to keep practicing a lot. Don't control it, channel it, divert it.
Thanks, that helps.
In fact, while Monisha is thinking about anything else you want to ask, if you have a specific example, you can use it. Don't mention names here, obviously, because there's so many people online. But you can use, Mr. X and Mr. B and whatever, and ask the question if you need. But I noticed that there's other people who have joined. So let me just take a few seconds to let everyone here know. Feel free to write out your questions on chat so that, if we see the questions, we can actually read them out and answer. If Monisha is running out of questions or if she's thinking about something else to share, in the meantime, we can open it up. Now, my initial plan was to have a live forum where anyone could just come on and ask questions. I was afraid that it'll probably end up me giving a lecture online, and I don't want to do that. It shouldn't be a lecture. It should be literally a two-way communication. So I threw out this idea to Monisha, and she was very happy to join. And thank you for that again. And we will.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime. I want people. It's kind of my way of giving back to society as well. I mean, you can do corporate training and you can earn from that, but sometimes it's good to be able to help people around and just share ideas. If it can help touch one person's life, that helps. I know Mayuri is here. Mayuri will share the same philosophy. Is like, if I can help change one person's life, she's already a very happy person. Mayuri, if you agree with that sentence, give me a thumbs up or give me a yes or give me whatever. All right. And we'll wait for her to respond. But Monisha, going back to you, do you have any questions? Did you switch off your video?
No, it happened by mistake.
That's your mobile again, is it?
Yeah, my mobile at work.
Okay. Yeah, technology. We can't control it. We sometimes can't even channel it. So it's much harder than human beings in some cases. So tell me, anything else that is going on in your life that we can help to answer here?
No,
and
I think
Mayuri, as you can see, Mayuri has actually given thumbs up. She would agree with that. If we can make a difference in one person's life, it is so much a sense of satisfaction. It's really useful.
Absolutely.
Keeps us motivated to keep going with passion. So tell me, Monisha, I know this is a forum for you to ask questions. Let me ask you, what are some of the challenging people that you face? No names, just scenarios where you've actually had a difficulty with someone.
So, case in point, I'll take an example of a client wherein I was not able to break through a very large client. For me, so it was very important to have that breakthrough with him. But he would largely say yes to everything that we proposed and presented, but the discussion would never go anywhere. So if there are no objections, you're typically in a very vague situation as to you don't know what's really going on in his mind.
Interesting.
So that I feel is a very difficult scenario where your client says yes to you, but the discussion doesn't lead to anything, which means you have to second guess or read between the lines, and which comes better after understanding the DISC model, with you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, interestingly that you mentioned that, you will find that a lot of people say yes for many different reasons. One of the reasons is yes, because I don't want to continue this topic anymore. So let's just say yes and, end it. And that happens a lot. A lot of times you tell people, I use the example of typical couples at home, husband and wife, where the wife says something and the husband says, okay. That's just because he doesn't want to continue talking. And that's why, if you notice, uh, generally, now I know I might displease a lot of women in the room here today, but let me just share it out anyway, because I think you might relate to it. A lot of times when women walk up to their husband or boyfriend and say, listen, we need to talk, you get the strangest reactions from guys, because that's the last thing they want. They don't want to sit and talk. So that is a scary sentence. Now, remember, we were saying about packaging your wordings. Whenever a woman starts off with a sentence, hubby, we need to talk, that's a scary sentence. Now, remember, men are men, women are women. It's just different robotics going on inside. So we need to understand from their point of view. And this is something we've been taught ever since. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. But that's easier said than done. It's easy to say it. It's not that easy to actually put yourself in the other person's shoes, because of all the things I mentioned. In the book, we mentioned about the P factor, all the experiences, the perceptions, the emotions. We're different. I mean, Monisha, no matter how much I understand you or how much you understand me, you still are you and I am me. So there will always be that little difference there. And we need to respect that, accept it, and move forward with it. So next time when you're dealing with this client, I think one of the suggestions would be, if he says okay, maybe you need to pin him down to which particular part was okay.
Is
What
he
did he
okay with?
particularly like? Yeah. Because, I mean, he's okay with everything. That's not a commitment. Basically, what it is, it's a brush off or a stall. People generally say, okay, yeah, that sounds fine. Good. So then you need to follow it up with, okay, can you tell me one specific thing that you felt it's something that's going to help you? If he cannot name that one specific thing, then his yes was total BS. And by the way, since I'm a trainer, my BS stands for something else. We call it blue sky.
Oh, okay.
That's just a nicer way of using the normal, BS. So we call it blue sky. If he can't name one specific thing in your idea or proposal that he liked, then it was just a brush off. All right. If he can actually tell you one thing, then your follow-up question is, okay, good. So how do you think we can move forward with that one thing? Now he has nowhere to go. Basically, you have not disagreed with him. You've agreed with his point. You've asked him questions. He said it. So now you're just following up with it. All right. So it's actually kind of like building a bridge. You're building onto his idea rather than giving him a different idea. So there should be no conflict. It should only be collaboration. I hope that helps.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you can try that out at your next meeting with any similar type of customer that you deal with. And I know the people that you deal with are usually generally very high level people, entrepreneurs, businessmen, whatever. And because they are so high level, a lot of people think they know a lot. All right. Now, I'm not saying that they don't know a lot. They probably do. But always remember, Manisha, you are the expert in the field that you're in. That's why you've been in it for so long and you're actually making those suggestions. So that confidence shows through when you ask very specific questions and pin them down.
All right? Absolutely. It always helps.
Yeah. Good, good. Anything else? Do we have anyone else? I know a lot of people are waving, but because I'm talking to Manisha, I am just going to say thank you, everyone. Hi. There's a lot of waves. Has anyone got any questions? Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to not just wave, but you can raise your hand and or put it down in the chat box so we can actually answer your questions if you have any others. Anybody? I know we have a lot of people here right now. We have Mani Chua, we have Manish Maini, we've got Vinny Twinkle, Sumit Gautam. Who? Where's Sonia? Okay. Yes, Sonia Atwal. Yep. Mayuri, I already mentioned, and Sonal I mentioned because I know them. Some of the others, feel free to shoot out a question if you need to. I'd be more than happy to answer. Please remember, the session was for about 30 minutes, and I don't want to hold on to Monisha because she's actually, you're at work. I mean, it's work
I'm
hour
at work,
right now.
but it's a very conversation which is enriching and fruitful for me. So I don't mind staying on.
Okay, well, stay on. And if you have more questions, just keep throwing them out unless somebody else throws out a question, which I'll happily answer as well. Guys, by the way, if you can't think of a question immediately, which sometimes is not surprising, sometimes we kind of so focused on listening that we have questions kind of developing in the back of our head, but it's not quite there yet. So you can actually put them down on the as I said, in the comment box, or you can send me a DM directly, especially if you feel that the question is something that I want to ask Raju directly, but I don't want to share it with everyone else here. That's absolutely fine. I promise to keep it confidential, and I will only reply you directly on DM if you need to. So going back to you, Manisha, what else? How else can I help you today?
So going back to our concept of difficult people and how to handle them, from the perspective of leader, if you're leading a team, leading an organization, it's a very different way in which you will deal with difficult employees.
Yeah.
And if I'm an employee, there's a different way in which I will deal with difficult co-workers, business partners, clients. So I want to now change the perspective and go on a perspective of a leader. If I'm a leader and I have employees who have the skill, know how to do it, but are difficult to deal with in some or the other way, what are the skills or things that you would advise in that kind of situation? And these employees may be very senior employees.
Of course.
Yeah.
The fact that you mentioned that they have the skills, they know how to do it, but are just not doing it, right? So that already tells you that they have the experience. I mean, they have the skill set. It's not like they are very new or fresh or junior people, yeah. And nowadays, even youngsters coming out of university, I mean, believe me, they know a lot. It's not like I remember in my days when I was a teenager coming out, it was like I had no clue about anything. Nowadays, youngsters are very bright. So a lot of times what happens is you need to consider this. Why would a person who knows how to do it, is good at doing it, not do it? The only reason is because he is not motivated or does not have the desire. In our training, one of the things we talk about is an exercise called skill will. And you have 4 quadrants where people are put into, whether you have high skill, low will, which is the one that you're talking about. If a person is at high skill, low will, that means our focus should be to build the will. And how do you build the will? Is literally by showing a lot of patience to truly understand what is making him or her unhappy, why there is no desire, because they can do it, they have the skill, but they're not, right? So why? that's the thing we need to think about. So I don't know if I mentioned this to you in our previous conversations. Remember, we said that motivators, there are many different types of
Yeah,
motivators. Yeah,
yeah,
some people are motivated by greed. Some are motivated by recognition. And a lot of times you will find the ones that we're talking about right now, the high skill, low will, are probably because they feel that they have been used and abused, or they have not been treated fair, or I don't feel respected in my organization or in my team. So a lot of times it's all related with the will and the desire. If you have a very high performing person and he or she is always given very mundane tasks, repetitive tasks to do, sooner or later the life is going to go out. I mean, they're going to go like, forget this. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? This is literally a mundane task. They need to be challenged. So some are motivated by curiosity. So before you handle these type of people, the first thing you need to do is dig deeper to find out what is the cause of their low will. If you can get to that low will point, then it becomes easier for you to handle it, because first of all, you fix the will. You don't have to fix the skill because it's already there. So once you raise the will up, they should be back to normal. Now, please remember, don't expect miracles. Don't expect people to go from high skill, low will to immediately high skill, high will. It's not going to happen. It takes time. But at least we start seeing the move forward, which is, a sense of achievement and satisfaction in itself. Right? Does that make sense? Can you picture someone in
absolutely.
mind who's like that?
Not immediately, but I'm sure there will be somebody like that. Yeah.
I'm sure there is. Yeah, in every organization, you will find there are all four types. Some of the challenging ones, even high skill, high will people can be challenging in their own way, because these are what we consider stars. And I think Monisha's internet is giving a challenge. Oh, there she is, back again. I think the internet kind of struggled for a while. I was
Yeah.
talking about high skill, high will people. These are what we consider as stars in the company. But don't worry, don't think that because they are stars, you can ignore them and let them be. Even those people need attention. If you don't give them enough attention, they will become low will very quickly. The difference is you can show them attention, but don't micromanage them. Micromanaging them is not attention. That's like checking on them, and they get even more fed up with that. So we always need to find a balance, and that's why I say whenever we're dealing with people, the key word is always going to be finding the balance. Am I going to be commanding? Am I going to be collaborative? Am I going to tell them what to do? Am I going to ask them and involve them in what to do? It's all a balance, and all the ways are correct. You can't say that with I can only do this way or this way. You need to learn to adapt your own style so that you're fitting in with the right kind of scenario. Right? Does that make sense, Monisha?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good.
That proves
Okay.
that there is no one size that fits all, because different people need different style of leadership.
Exactly. And that's why I started my session today by saying we are dealing with people. So, I mean, don't expect that, oh, Raju's going to give us all the answers and I'll just go and use those answers outside. That doesn't work. You will also find a very interesting phenomena is that, Monisha, I spoke to you this morning and you were very nice and friendly and easygoing. I had another meeting with you in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I find, my God, what's wrong? Monisha is so challenging. Everything she's challenging. Now tell me, Monisha, why would that happen?
Maybe in the morning I spoke to you as a colleague or as a friend, and right now sitting in the conference room, I'm talking to you as a business person. So I would definitely look at what business needs first. So that may
Exactly.
come
So
across as challenging.
circumstances might have changed. Between morning and afternoon, you may have had some incidents that affected your emotions. for example, you had that funny customer of yours, the one you said that you keep saying okay but doesn't do anything. Now you're upset, you're unhappy, and then all of a sudden Raju wants to talk to you and you go like, what the hell, man? So I mean, this can happen. You can have the same person on two different occasions and he's a totally different person, right? That's why human beings are the most challenging subject on earth. That's exactly why. But it's fun. I've been in this business long enough to realize the passion and the excitement that comes with dealing with people is, I can't compare it with anything else. It's just so much fun.
Oh, your passion comes through the screen, so it's visible.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love every moment of it, whether especially when I'm with my clients and with my participants, it's a lot more. But even when I'm with friends, I mean, I'm continually trying to observe people and trying to assess, how are they behaving today? What's different from today versus last week? And you will actually see differences. Wait, hold on. Last week he was not like this, but this week he seems like a different person. We don't know what happened during that week. He may have gone through a lot of stuff, that we need to, and we can't exactly ask a person directly, why did you have a bad week? Now, that doesn't come across as a good question, right? Because people get really upset with that. So it's like, so you observe, watch, listen, that helps. All right.
And I don't
Good.
think I have met anybody who can observe better than you.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I know my daughter used to do that to me. She used to put me on the spot a lot by telling me to come in front of her friends and say, okay, my papa is going to tell you everything about you. And I thought, oh my God, no, don't do that. But yeah, it's all the experience of, well, two things. One is that I've been in this for 30 some years. So the experience is there. But on top of that, it's the passion and enjoyment of actually being able to do it. If you enjoy doing it, you just end up becoming better and better at it. So, Monisha, what are you looking at becoming better and better at?
A better communicator for sure. No matter what age I reach, I think there'll always be scope to improve there, because that improves your relationship with people around you, and largely people are what define you as a person. Your network is what defines you. So a lot of things depend upon your relationships, whether it's personal or work, and relationships only improve, according to me, with communication.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And to become a good communicator, one of the key aspects of that is we need to believe in ourselves and our ability to communicate. So the mindset is critical. See, when you're talking about the skill and the will, you have the skill. I mean, you're 30 some years old, I am assuming, right? So if you're 30 some years old, you've had 30 years, well, at least 25 years of experience of speaking. So communication is the skill. We have it. We all know how to speak. It's the passion of, do I enjoy speaking? Because a lot of times what happens, I go and meet someone and I go, oh God, I really don't want to talk to this person. All of a sudden, your communication totally breaks down. Yeah, it's our biases, it's our triggers, it's our passion, that becomes low, and therefore communication breaks down. So be able to communicate is all about up here. Do you want to? Do you like to? By the way, I know this is the wrong spot to be putting you in, but do you remember the 3 reasons why we communicate with people?
To influence, to inform, and to impact.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a good student.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's why I had the confidence to ask you that question right now. I said, she'll answer it. Yeah. It's definitely, it is to inform them or to influence someone, or we're actually trying to get them to do some different action, right? We want them to do something. So move to action is another one, or impact them, as you said. So if we have that clear in our mind, then it becomes a lot easier to communicate with people. All right. Monisha, I know I've taken up 45 minutes of your time, so I'm going to say thank
Absolutely.
you very much for your involvement. If you
Thank
do
you.
have any other questions, feel free to ask. But if you don't, I'm going to just hang on for about 2 minutes and give the audience one more chance to see if anyone has any questions. And if they don't, then we're going to close off today's session. But I do want to say, I hope whoever was listening here today, I know Alex Y is here, I know Celine is here. So, I mean, I hope you guys got some value out of it, enjoyed this session. Monisha is a lovely person. And I'm sure after you've seen her today, if you need to connect with her on Instagram, I'm pretty sure she'll be okay with that as well. And if you have any, like I said, if you have any questions you would like to ask, but you don't want to make it public here, feel free to DM me directly and I will definitely answer you. It may not be, within 5 minutes of it, but I generally do reply. And I'm pretty sure Monisha can be testament to that, that I do reply every message that I get, every message. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, Lisa joined. My business development key person from Dubai has just joined. Yay. Excellent. Hi, Lisa. We were just about to wrap up the session, but thank you for making, and she was out for a meeting. She ran back to kind of join the session. So thank you so much for connecting. And I will be in touch with you. Sorry, late, no problem at all, Lisa. All right. So for everyone else, thank you. Thank you so much, Monisha. Special thanks to you for spending this time with us. Please do reach out, ask questions, do anything you like. You can make a comment. If you don't want to ask questions, you can make a comment. Let me also say one more thing. I don't know about other people, but I absolutely love getting feedback. So if you have feedback for me in terms of how this session could have been done better, because this is our first one live using this Ask EHP approach, we want to get better at it. So if you have suggestions, we would gladly accept it. Secondly, if you didn't like something I said or did, please tell me about it, because the only way I'm going to learn and continue to improve is if I get feedback. So please feel free to give me feedback, give feedback for the session. No need to give feedback for Monisha because she did her part beautifully. So thank you so much.
Feedback is welcome here as well.
Okay, all right, good. All right, since you mentioned that, then feedback is welcome there as well. Excellent. So guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to say, signing off now. I don't know what Coffee with Karan, how does he switch off his sessions? Do you know?
Not good at it. Not good at it.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. So I'm just going to say, signing off now. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.